Hey guys, so it's Football Sunday and it is release day for the version 1.3 update that everybody's been working on. This one was a pretty big update, took quite a while, a lot of work, a lot of time from everybody, but we got it done and we think it's in a good state so everyone can enjoy it. So here's just a list of some of the fixes and things that we were able to add and complete for this update. So we added bad weather uniforms, thanks to Flame of Hope. Spent a lot of time doing the bad weather uniforms for transitions. They look awesome. We also included stadium textures for rain, for snow, which is really cool and something we didn't have in the initial release. So now you get some bad weather games in and have all the updated textures. And there will be some more updates coming to localized ads that the team's going to be working on. But now we have at least our updated stadium textures for rain and snow for bad weather games, along with the uniforms to go with it, which is really cool. You guys are going to enjoy it. There were some last minute updates to the Colts stadium that Flame did. And then, of course, everyone's seen the Week 1 ratings that CujoMatty spent a lot of time on. So we're including the Week 1 high and low ratings. And if you haven't already used them and played them, the high ratings are basically just the straight run converted ratings, which sometimes give high overalls for teams, which people don't seem to like, but that's fine. So CujoMatty actually spent the time to make a more normal roster file that has not bloated ratings. So that's going to be included on memory cards. Obviously his tattoo mod, which some people saw from Madden, he was able to put in here, which is really awesome. So that's in there. Also, again, Cujo spent a ton of time, a lot of thanks, but we have real player photo match going on now, which is cool. There was a lot of uniform cleanup and correction, which might have just been an oversight with the initial build, but some of the guys really helped clean that up. And then we also fixed the Broncos stadium wall. The Bears stadium end zone was weird, so we fixed that. And there was a lighting issue that we came across, which we ended up finding out which textures it was, but we did fix the stadium lighting issue, as well as there was a weird cloud issue going on. So the team was able to come together, and not just the core team of guys that we have, but we also opened it up to some mod testers, which helped us out. And some of the feedback was just awesome. And it's like anything, you can look at something for hours and not see something, and then when you get those extra set of eyes in there and that different lens and perspective, so it was good, and we appreciate everyone's help. So we were able to fix some stuff along the way. But we definitely got the bulk of everything done that we wanted to. So this will be here so you can see this. And what's going to happen is when you watch this, these will be version 1.3. So when you click the links, everything is going to be version 1.3. And what you do is this will just take you to the update notes, which we just went through here. And then you'll have your full package. So for anybody that has not already downloaded our mod, you're going to want to download the full package. Okay. And for everybody that has been playing it and already has the full package, you're just going to need the fix package, which is basically a drag and drop. So we'll take a look at the fix first and how we apply that. So I already have the packages, obviously. But after you download the fix package, you're going to want to go to your emulator directory. Okay, we'll just open it up here and smush that over here. And same thing with version 1.2. And all you're going to do is you're going to extract your zip file for your fix package. And I'll just take you through this. So I'm just going to extract this. Well, you would extract it, right? I already have the files, obviously, but you'll get this package here if it's the fix version. It'll say 1.3 fix at the end, and you're going to have the opportunity to pick your controller buttons. So when you pick whichever package you want, you're going to have the options to, and whatever you pick is what button controller layout you're going to get. PlayStation, obviously, Xbox. So when you do that, you're going to download that package. You'll have it. But when you extract this, what you're going to get is you're going to get these folders here. So memory cards, what we did is we included CujoMatty's Week 1 high and low, and that includes franchise. And it's also, let me open up this file here so we take a look at it. I overhauled the documentation because some people were having a lot of struggles and challenges. So again, you want to open this document, take a look at it. It includes a list of all the work and everything that we put into it for this update. It walks you through what we're going to do here, which is pretty basic stuff, easy Windows stuff. You're just going to take these three, open your directory, take these three folders, you're just going to copy it over. And when prompted, you're going to just say yes to go ahead and replace everything in the destination. So we'll give this a minute to complete. And something else too that we did was that there were some missing alternate and color rush uniforms for some of the teams, and I know Zevin, Flame of Hope, everybody spent a lot of time in them, so I'm glad we're able to get some of those uniforms in this one. So you'll see that there will be some additional uniforms. So see here, we're going to just replace this, and again, this is just overwriting what's there. But let me go down in the document here, and you'll see I put a breakout for each team, and obviously it goes top San Francisco, bottom Minnesota. So any teams that have alternate or additional uniforms, you'll see the year in here. So obviously every team has current, we've updated those. But you'll also see that we have a 93 and 94 and a 64 to 93 for the 49ers, and hopefully that's not botched. I might have to double check that. But as you go through here, you'll see which teams have additional uniforms just by going down here. And I tried to make it as clean as I could for everybody, so it's an easy, quick reference. But you'll see some teams here, we do have some alternate uniforms that you can choose when you're at the selection screen. All right. So let's get back to this. So I overwrote everything in here. So I'm going to close out of this. And then I'm going to launch my, and this again is just my existing one. So I'm going to launch this. And what I recommend doing is just come into config, memory cards. And if you haven't already, you might have other ones loaded like the 2K22 Res 1 or whatever might be in there. Just make sure if there's anything on those cards that you want that you save them off so you can move them over. But you're just going to want to make sure that those are loaded, which they should be for you already. You say okay, and then you would launch the game from here, and then you'll have all the updates are ready to go. That's for the fixed package. So what we'll do next will be for the full package. And again, let's say I overhauled the documentation for this too, just to kind of make it a little bit easier. There was a lot of questions and feedback that I've seen people asking for help, and it was time to update it. So I did overhaul this document. Now this is for anyone that has not downloaded our mod. You're going to go back to that main page here, and everything will be updated when you get to it. But you're going to download the full package. When you have that full package, you know, whatever buttons you pick, PlayStation, Xbox, you'll get the zip file. You're just going to extract that, and you'll be left with this folder here. And inside this folder, you're going to have an ISO directory. In here is the ULE 4.38 boot ISO. This is going to be needed when we do the Dev9 plugin to create the 40 gig hard drive. And note, it has to be 40 gigs just because that's what the size was when PlayStation originally released the original hard drive. So for whatever reason, it's got to be 40 gigs. All right, so that ISO is going to be in there. And then this is the full stable build 1.6 of PCSX2. So again, I see a lot of folks having problems. Come to find out that they're either pathed to the wrong one or they're launching the wrong EXE for PCSX2. So if you're having trouble, just take a break. You know what I mean? Go back through your steps, read the document. A lot of times I see people just have a minor oversight or overlook something, or they're launching the wrong thing, or they try to save something to the wrong directory. So just take your time and go through it. Super easy. But yeah, definitely reference the documentation, guys, before you ask a bunch of questions. So what I'm going to do, since this will be extracted, I'm going to open here, and I keep everything in a source directory for 2K5. But what I'm going to do here is, I guess I could just trash this. Maybe I won't. I'll just rename this, because that's my test build that I monkey around with. So let's do that. What you'll do, and I recommend putting this somewhere on your local computer drive, wherever you want to keep it. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to copy this over here because that's where I want it to live. And this is for first time folks that are installing our mod for the first time. And again, this is the full stable 1.6 build of the PCSX2 emulator. So you don't need anything else but this. Granted, you will need, the only things you need to bring to this party are your own PS2 BIOS. We can't share that because of Sony copyright. And also the game disc ISO. You guys are going to have to come up with that on your own. You can go to PCSX2. They show you how you can dump and extract your PS2 BIOS from your console if you wanted to. Or, you know, just be a Google engineer and you can find anything on the web. So, yeah, so you got to come up with the BIOS as well as the game disc. Those we can't provide because of copyright. Alright, so once we have this directory, I'm just going to open it up, and obviously we have to add our BIOS, and I keep an ISO directory with all my ISOs here. So you can have your folder structure however you want, whatever makes the most sense for you guys. And let's take a look here. So memory cards, we'll just take a look in here. High-low, they're there with everything on it. Obviously BIOS is going to be empty. This is where you have to put your PS2 BIOS, guys. And let's see, VHDD, textures, everything's there. Okay, cool. So we have our document, and let's take a look at this, right? Again, it's been overhauled, so we can just go top down. What's included? Known mod issues, PCSX2 requirements I added because a lot of people are asking about, you know, it doesn't load, the images don't load, and different challenges like that. So I figured we would just take that right from the documentation for the emulator and put that in there, so at least you'll know. Obviously, if you have a CPU that does not support the AVX2 GSD plugin, you're not going to get the textures, unfortunately, for right now. So let's just go in here and get started. Let's go down here. Let's take a look, a little about stuff. There's some links to things, getting started, and this is going to be the same as you've seen before. We put a note here. You're going to need your PS2 BIOS and your own game disk. Okay. This is what I included here for requirements, and you can see here minimum requirements for your PC and recommended PC requirements, and right here supports AVX2. So that's really going to be on you guys to search and make sure that your equipment and hardware will support it. Again, in here is the additional uniforms for the teams that we included. It's the same thing that we saw in the other document, broken out nice so that you can reference it. Preparing NFL2K5 Resurrected. Again, here it's just going through extract the folder from the zip you downloaded to anywhere you want, which we already put it. I put mine in a location. Again, need to add your own BIOS here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull my BIOS out of my other directory. So let me just take all this junk from here and go to my new build, and you're going to drop it right into the BIOS directory here. Okay. Alright, so after we do that, I'm going to load the emulator, and you're going to load it from within this, because this is the full build. So I'm going to launch this emulator exe from here. Now I have this. And then let's just go take a look at stuff, right? Config, BIOS settings, slide this over. And obviously you're going to have different options in here for when you do it, but let's take a look at plugins. Alright, and everything should be pointing to the directory where we put it. So all mine's pointing where it should, that's fine. BIOS, obviously you want to select the one that's for you. So I'm just going to OK that. It's going to apply settings and build out whatever config file it needs. So that takes us through here. Next is the video GS settings. So this is already pre-configured, but let's open up the plugin settings here. Okay, so from here, you're obviously going to have default hardware device, but I recommend setting it to whatever your hardware device is. So select your graphics card, whether it's AMD, NVIDIA, whatever you have, and then if you have an AMD, this would change up here too, probably, I believe. I'm running NVIDIA, so I'm going to select my device. This default, right? This piece here is what actually swaps the texture so that you get the cool new stuff. So you want to make sure that that stays enabled and it's set to replace. You shouldn't have to touch that. Again, a lot of this stuff you don't have to touch. If you want to change your resolution, I play at 2K, 1440p resolution, but you can change that. All the rest of these settings are set to where they are and are default that way because they work really well. And I believe they will work really well for everyone else too. But again, this goes through it in here. And we call out here, do not change these settings, right? So if you disable that, you're not going to get the texture refresh. But let's keep going down here, and we can take a look at the advanced settings and hacks. So I'm just going to click in here. And again, everything in the document is going to be already set in this emulator build for you, but it's good to go through it just to see and know where everything is. So everything's here is set, so okay there. Keep going down. The shaders, and I read some comments about the mod sucking, and the only thing that was new was something that we took from Rate Sports, which, okay, cool, I guess, but you know, credit to the Rate Sports guys again for the shader work that they did, and a lot of other cool stuff that they did with their project, which we were able to, you know, to implement as well for everyone. So again, these settings are going to be set the same as you see in the document, so nothing other than maybe you wanted to make some changes yourself and you know what you want to change, go for it. If not, just leave that default. And then we can OK that. And what I did was I had a lot of trouble with shading with like rain textures and snow, and it gave me the graphic display that I wanted with the player models, but it was, I don't know, kind of annoying because I'd have that shade going on, which didn't mess up my replays or anything, but it was just meh, I don't know. So I was messing around with it, and I found these settings to work really well, and I think it was traced back, the shade issue with the bad weather was traced back to a PNOC file that I was using. A lot of you guys know that if you just come in here, you can actually enable widescreen patches natively, which gives you a cool widescreen view. And before I had enabled cheats was enabled, and I disabled that in here. And what I did was I also removed the cheats. So if you come in here now, you'll see there's no PNOC files. The one game PNOC file that I was using, which was widescreen, made by the PCSX2 community, which was awesome. It was causing that shade weirdness. So I got rid of the PNOC out of here. No need to have it. And cheats are not enabled for that reason. And then what I did do was I went in and I went to the BIOS, and you're going to want to do this as well if you want to do the widescreen. The settings are over here as well. But in the BIOS, you'll set it to 16:9. And then if you just take a look at these settings, you'll see kind of how it is. So everything here for the video plugin settings is going to remain the same. Everything that we just went through will be the same. And also, I want to say the Windows settings will remain the same too. I do fit the screen because I maximize mine. So nothing needs to change in here. The only thing to do would be to get into the BIOS. And how you do that is you'll just go here, make sure that there's no disk selected for CD, DVD, and then you're going to just boot this. So let's boot this real quick. Just let me shut that down. Let's go to, let's pick that guy. I'm going to reboot the BIOS here. And because you're going to be editing the BIOS, you're going to want to do the widescreen settings. Change system configuration. Okay, adjustments. And you're going to want to set, you have three options, 4.3, full, 16.9. Leave it to 16.9, back out of that. And then we can just shut that down. Let's keep going down here. Audio settings, I don't mess with this. It usually just defaults to whatever my default audio is, and yours probably will too. But if you want to take a look at the plugin settings here and maybe tweak something, go for it. But that's in there. Let's see. Memory cards. So this is a good one too, and obviously they're already loaded, but you come into config here, memory cards. Okay, and you can see that I have these loaded, so 1.6. So it looks like it's looking at those, but they don't exist. So what I'm going to do is I am going to scrub those, but let me just make sure. Oh, I do have it in here. Did I forget to delete them from there? I probably did. No, I guess I didn't. All right, well, for whatever reason, they're in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete those. I don't need those. Goodbye. Goodbye. And then you're going to come down in here and you're going to pick. All right, so I keep my high in one and low in the other one. Now you're going to click insert. First empty port, I'm going to insert there. A second one, I'm going to insert that in port 2. So that's loaded. And it's good, just check this stuff. Make sure you go through it. It's easy, and then at least you know you went through it, it's done. All right, and then I'm going to come down. Okay, so another big one, controller setup. So I added this in the document too because I see some folks where they have their controller set up, but it's not recognizing. And I don't know if it's the same for everyone else or not, but I know when I tried to play a game against my son, it didn't recognize pad 2. And it was only a matter of going in and actually mapping pad 2. So I have, obviously mine are USB, I don't know what yours are, but you can come in here and just manually set it. And again, it's not a bad idea. Come in here to controllers, PAD, plugin settings. It's the lily pad thing here. Click pad 1, grab your controller, right? L1, L2, or just go through up, down, do your D-pad, do all your buttons. After you click everything and you're satisfied, including your analogs, I would do it. Click apply. And then if you have a second game controller that you have plugged in as well, go to pad 2 and do the same thing on the second one. Just go through all the mappings to make sure that everything is in there. Apply it, okay it. And that was my issue that I had. And then after I went into pad 2 and I mapped the second controller when it was connected to my machine, it works fine, and now I can just play local with my kids, which is cool. So that's it for settings, I believe. Okay, so this is the big one. My hard drive's not working. I'm getting an error. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you, other than if you're having those problems and you have stuff saved to it, like game saves or whatever else, use a utility like MyMC to open, or well, you actually probably couldn't do that. You'd want to save that file over to one of your memory cards, and then from there you could save that down if you wanted to. Like I know I have a bunch of stuff saved on my hard drive, the virtual disk, so I usually will copy it from that disk over to my memory card slot 1 or 2, and then from there I can use the MyMC utility to extract it if it's anything that I really wanted, like a VIP or setting or something. I don't know. I save weird shit occasionally on there. So game save, replays and stuff, whatever. Just don't lose something. If you have stuff on it. All right, but that will be the big one. And what we're just gonna go right through this right now. So let me go back to my main directory here, and you can see VHDD. I just put a little text file in here. Create the 40 gig VHDD here. It's just a placeholder so that we know that's where we want it to be. All right, so let's do this. So what we got here, config dev9. All right, and we are using this dev9 version is, I don't know, 8 something. 8.2, I think there's an 8.6, but I didn't see any value in really updating it yet, and I haven't tested the new one, but if you want to, you're welcome to. It's out there in the community for PCSX2, but what we'll do is we'll come config, and we're gonna do dev9 plugin settings. Let me slide this over so you guys can see it. I don't think I need that anymore. I'll get rid of that one. You're just going to enable HDD right there. Click options. Okay, this one will pop up. And then just browse directly to it. And I think this is where it gets a little hokey for some folks. So just manually map into where you want it to be. And I'm going into the emulator build, VHDD. This is where I want it. I click open. Cool. Now I know that is set. 40 gigs has to be the size, guys. I'm going to apply that. And then I'm going to wait. And I don't know how long it'll take on your machine. I know my machine rips through it pretty quick. But obviously depending on if you're on a spin or an SSD or an M2 chip, I mean, it all depends. You might see, I'll say mileage will vary at this point. So if you need to grab a Snickers, because it's taking a while, just let it finish. All right. So that's this here. Oh yeah, and I even put it here. Make sure you select the correct file path where you want the disk created. And I think that kind of boogered up a few people because they might not have selected the right path. And then after that, it was working. So we'll let that go, and then we'll go into the format, which is where we have to fast boot. So getting a little ahead. We'll let this finish up. Alright, sweet, so it's done. So now I'm just going to apply, and that's it. My virtual disk is created. So now if you go back into your directory here, you'll see, let me just do detailed view so I can see it. You'll see that, okay, it created the disk is there. So good, we're good there. So and really the only thing you need that for, guys, is if you want to have video Sports Center with Berman halftime show. Otherwise, it has no impact on the game. The only thing is if you didn't have that 40 gig virtual disk created and formatted, then you would just get still photos during the Chris Berman halftime show and Sports Center, different stuff like that. But I definitely recommend enabling, because it definitely makes the game it makes it that much more fun, especially seeing the presentation. All right, so that's done. So let's keep going down here. Formatting the disk. All right, so we're going to want to go to CD, DVD, and we're going to do selector, and we're going to browse. And again, wherever you extracted your ISO to, this is the one that was included, the ULE 4.38 boot, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to open that and take a look again here. So we're set to ISO boot, cool. And here, make sure that you boot fast. For whatever reason, if you boot full, it does weird stuff. So just boot fast. We'll let it come up here. Okay, cool. So let's see, where are we going? Select file browser. Oh, right, we're going to MISC. Did I miss it? Nope, at the bottom. Here we go. And then Hdd Manager, I'm pretty sure, but let me just go down here. Yep, Hdd Manager. Okay. Jump in there. It's loading. Okay, so, and this is weird, and I just noticed it, but it's okay, don't worry. You don't see anything in here yet, and that's cool. Down there it says R1 for the menu, so just hit R1, right? And then you'll see it pop up on the right hand side. Go down to format and circle to OK it. Do you want to format? Yep. So we'll format it, let it do its thing, and then once it's done, poof, there's the stuff that we need to see. So we know we created it, it's formatted properly now. Let's go down, and we can just exit at this point. So everything, including the hard drive, the virtual hard disk, is set and ready to go. So I'm just going to exit out. Sure, whatever. And then from here, at this point, we can just shut down. Okay. And then let's go down in the document here since we're going through it. Preloaded memory card. Just put a little note in here for everybody. So included are 2 preloaded memory cards, as you guys know. The one in slot 1, the high, is going to be all of CujoMatty's roster week 1 work with the normal, Madden converted high overalls that some people don't like. But it's going to include the roster of the franchise. Obviously, Playbook and Settings are from the Rate Sports brothers. And I just include it just because they're good settings. The playbooks are there if you want them, even if you want to use the baseline, whatever. I just include it. Big credit to those guys. Sad they didn't really keep going with their project. But I also made an NFL2K5 VIP, which is a fresh one. So if you have yours, I recommend using yours. And the same thing is going to be for the slot 2, obviously. Same thing, just the ratings that are a little bit more normal that we would expect. And this is just a little example. You'll see it's ROS 22 week 1. And then franchise 22 week 1, playbook, right? And then the NFL 22 is the actual VIP, and then settings, okay? And then credits obviously to everybody: Flame of Hope, Zevin, Bad Al, Orleans 02, Rick, Heavy, Mahomes Magic. Oh my God, there's been so many people that have helped us. BT0, Tanner, I don't remember, but so many people. Chuck Wu, I don't even know. Like, you guys are awesome, right? And everyone's help, ideas, and contributions are like really making this mod into what it is, which it's a community mod, and that's the way it should be, I feel. So big thanks to everybody that's been helping with this. All right, so that's the end of our document. We're all set up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close out of this guy. Let's get out of there. Shift this over. We should not need to be in that directory anymore. And and then at this point, you're going to want to load your disk. So I'm going to go to Selector, Clear, Browse. Go up, and obviously 2K4 Gil Goldberg, I can't say it right, but he's been doing a lot of work with 2K4, so I'll have to check that out soon. Really good stuff. So 2K5, and again, you're going to need your own game disk. Okay, so I'm going to system, I'm going to boot full, and once it gets in here, let me just all right. Let's go to config, video GS, plugin settings. Let's disable that, say OK, resume. Pause one more time. Config, let's go back to the plugin settings for video. We'll say enable, OK, and let's resume. Okay, cool. And you can see that it's here. Again, I don't know why it does that. It might not happen for you, but once you do that, it seems to be fine. I have not encountered it doing things, so I do want to reproduce it. So no worries if that happens. Just follow that. You should get past the I'm going to go to load here for one of the memory cards. Alright, so here's the 40 gig hard disk, and this is always the first one that comes up. So if we went through it, we created it successfully, we formatted it, we'll see this as the first option. So I'm just going to move over one. and this is going to take me to the memory card in slot 2, which I know we mounted the low one. So this has the low ratings, and again, here's the VIP file. It's just a default. You're probably going to want to use yours. Settings, Playbook, Rate Sports. Big thanks to those guys. Hopefully they come back maybe and help us do some shader stuff someday. All right, and then let's just load this. Okay, 74, 75 overall. That looks good. Yeah, 86, 70. That's cool. Let me get out of here. Back out. Back. That was 2. So let's go to slot 1. This is going to be the high one. And this is the one that everyone's like, oh, the ratings are so high. I don't understand why it sucks. It really doesn't. And maybe it does. I don't know. Whatever. So I'm just going to load this one too, just to make sure. This is a good sanity check to make sure I didn't botch anything, because dealing with all these files, putting everything together gets a little bit convoluted at times. So, features. Yeah, okay, so 88, 89. So you can see that the files are correct. There's another question that comes up frequently, and CujoMatty put together an awesome video to show folks how that they, so with the roster file, franchise file specifically, is, every team selected as user. I don't know what to do. Like, I want to just have one team, which is cool, and it's super easy. So let me close this down real quick. I'm just going to shut down. So let me load. I gotta think about this. So let's come here, go to our tools here, and let me load my MC GUI. And let's see, PlayStation, that's the community one. We don't want to muck around with that. So let me go into where I just set it up, which is my source. The new build. Alright, and then memory cards, and I'm just going to pick on the low one for now, right? So I'm going to use my MC to actually open that memory card, and I'm going to pick that franchise file. You have import, you have export. I'm going to export. We're just going to dump it to the desktop. I always switch this to max for whatever reason. It's just something I'm used to doing, but either format will work, guys. So I'm going to dump this out. Great, right? So let me refresh my desktop. There it is. So what you can do is, if you have Fins Editor, cool, you're going to need that for this step. If you don't, if you go to 2k5rosters.com, let me just open it up here. If we go, it's stuck like that. I shouldn't have left it that way when I closed it. That's okay. Thank you, Windows. It's 2k5rosters.com. Yeah, NFL2K5. And if you come here, you'll see 2k5 editor. This is Fins editor. You can just download this and run it, install it, run it, whatever you need to get it going. But that's what we're going to use here. Great site, by the way. Glad that they keep this up and alive. There's a lot of other rosters that you can get from here, as well as Operation Sports, but there's a lot of utilities here. Attribute charts, generic faces. There's so much stuff that this person put time into to put together. Gloves, shoes, face masks. So there's a ton of information here too, so I recommend checking this site out as well. But I extracted my file. I already have my Fins editor defaulted, so I just double click it. It launches Fins editor here, and then I'm going to drag this over. This is going to come up. Always say no to this, because if you don't, it could mess up the file and you won't be happy. So with this here, we see that every team is user controlled right now, and here you see users in red. If we just go through this whole thing, everyone's user. So who do I want to be? I don't know. Let's just pick a team. I want to be the Jags, right? Cool. Let me be the Jaguars. So if this is the team that you want to control, you can right click right here on that user. Right click. And you can say control this team only. Control only the Jaguars in this franchise. Sure, why not? Right? And then you'll see everyone else's CPU. And that's right in here. If there was more teams you wanted to control, you could do user control for this one too, and then you have multiple teams. But if you're just looking for that one team that you want, maybe I'm a Giants fan, highly unlikely. Go Packers, right? Let me go back, where are we at? Lions, Packers. If this is all that I want to use, then I'm going to just control this team only. Yes. Cool. And then you save it, right? So as soon as I save that, it writes the file back. Now I'm going to come back here, and you're going to have to delete the one that's there. Otherwise, if you try to import the file after it's modified, it's going to tell you #salt because it already exists, and I'll show you. So if we do an import, I'm going to come here, I'm going to pick my roster file that I just modified for franchise, and it's going to say blah blah blah, save file already present. You're going to get that every time. So just come in here, do file, do delete. Yep, see ya, get out of here. And then we're going to do an import, and we're just going to pull this file in. And this will be the one that has only the Packers in this particular situation. It could be any team you want. Will be user control. So we'll close out of that, come back over to our emulator, and I'm going to do a full boot to get back into the game. And once we get back into the presentation for the menus, because it's so obnoxiously loud. Video he put up because he just put one up not too long ago, so make use of his channel and everyone else out there who's been talking about it. So that covers that. And I believe at this point so that's it. We hope everybody has fun and enjoys the 1.3 update. If you have any issues, questions, concerns, things like that, or you just come across something where like, hey, this, the Chargers pants are wrong when they transition from mud uniforms, let us know in the community. And something cool that I want to bring up too, and I didn't do the tutorial video yet, but I just want to share this with everybody. So CujoMatty had a great idea the other day and was like, hey, let's get, let's put together something in the community so that everyone has a chance to maybe come up with your own creations. And already there's been a ton of stuff that people are doing, which is really cool. So, and it's not, there's no mystery behind this. And I'll have to do another tutorial video to just show you how to actually go through and extract the textures so you can edit them and then get them swapped. But in here we created this whole category, ESPN NFL2K5 mods, and really it's just a place for everyone in the community to come, and if you have different ideas or things that you don't see in the mod today that we've already done, maybe you have a cool idea or want to do something, then go for it. Like we've already seen some stuff here that people have done where updating the buttons or making them smaller, like all these cool things that everyone can use, right? If you don't like seeing big buttons, okay, cool, well, you have like smaller ones, right? So there's so many different things that we can do with this now using this plugin, which is really cool. But this whole section is really here just for everybody to be creative. If there's something that you see or think of and want to do, give it a shot. We already had some help from a couple people with field textures, and you'll see that in this update. For the Eagles specifically, with the field texture, was worked on with a couple people in the community. It looks awesome. Same thing for the Vikings. You'll see those two stadiums have updated field textures, and that's going to be something too with 1.4 that everyone's already kind of coming up with these different ideas for stuff. Flame of Hope has this knack for really making awesome local ads for the boards and everything for the stadiums, which is amazing, and we can't thank him enough for everything that he does. But yeah, that's going to be something that's going to be worked on. There's jersey numbers that we have another person, I think BT0 has found a way to kind of do that with this emulator version, or with this plugin version that we're using. So a lot of cool stuff still being done. But again, take a look if there's things that you want to do or share with the community. Maybe there's someone else that wants to work on it with you. This is the perfect spot for everybody to just kind of be creative and share your ideas and everything. So yeah, take a look at that when you can. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoys this. Hopefully we went through that document together, everything was set up. So if I can do it, you can do it. And I just ask that please don't directly ping me when you have a problem and can't figure something out. Take a chance, go back through the documentation, because chances are that there's probably something that was overlooked, which it happens. I do it too. So hopefully everybody enjoys it. Big thanks to the team, our testers, everyone in the community. Really thank you, and we hope that everybody enjoys this update. So yeah, share some feedback. Enjoy the update, guys, and hopefully everybody enjoys a fun football Sunday. So thanks again. Take care.